Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is
It's over. Don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Well, folks, we're feeling good. 2 more wins. 2 more wins, and the New York Yankees will be playing in the World Series. I cannot believe I just said that. I've been waiting for this moment forever, man. It has been so long. I barely remember 2009. I barely remember 2009. I was in high school at the time. I was a freshman. Maybe I was in 8th grade. I graduated high school in 2013. So I was, yeah. I was in 8th grade. I was in middle school. Because I remember we got the shirts and I wore it to the gymnasium for an assembly and everyone was like happy. We got a long way to go. But we're 2 wins away from being a team that's performing in the World Series. I've been waiting for this moment forever. I was in middle school. I had high school on my notes here. Was in high school, was in HS last time. That's not even true. It was in middle school. Now that I think back, Obama became the first African-American president in United States history in 2009. Bitcoin was first launched. Neymar began his career at 17 years old back then. He's in his 30s now. 2009 was the first case of swine flu, which I had. Television shows, hit sitcoms like Parks and Recs and Modern Family debuted. Tiger Woods left golf. Michael Jackson passed. Patrick Swayze died. Billy Mays died. Hit songs during 2009. Coldplay's Viva La Vida. Black Eyed Peas' what is it called? I Got a Feeling was a hit song. I mean, that was 2009. And I get to do potentially get to do a podcast on World Series Yankees games. Never done before. This is going to be so fun if the Yankees can finish this off. Okay, yes, we're not done yet. We have got to, first of all, get there. And then when we do get there, we, of course, have to win. Because let's be honest, the Yankees have not played close to their best version of baseball yet. But it's the postseason, and the only thing you look for in the postseason, not for pretty, but you look for a win. I would rather win ugly than lose pretty. So the Yankees haven't even played their greatest baseball yet. Despite that, they're 5-1 this postseason. They're still finding ways to win games. They're 5-1. They took the first series against KC. I thought that was going to be a team who would be a sleeper in the American League, took it 3-1 fairly easily. And they're already up 2-0 against Cleveland. A commanding lead. They are in the driver's seat. Judge gets his first home run out of the way yesterday. That was awesome. Felt like a laugher, even though it wasn't, once that happened. I mean, Cleveland has just looked completely outmatched. They look super nervous, unprepared. I mean, between the wild pitches and the pass balls, and you got guys dropping pop-ups in the first inning. Rocchio with the fly ball. I know that was a high fly ball, so the wind might have taken it. You can't have that happen. I mean, they're stranding base runners every inning. They get these golden opportunities. You know, Yankee pitchers were walking a lot of batters last night. A lot of traffic on the bases for Cleveland. They go 0 for 7 in scoring position. The Yankee ace, Garrett Cole, was bad. And your ace, Tanner Bibby, was on the mound. Bibby was on the mound. And he was, another short outing. You got the Yankees trying to give Cleveland something. They're running into outs on the bases again. But it's just, they're overmatched, Cleveland. And so the Yankees are up 2-0. And let me get this out of the way first, because there's like this crowd of people who go to the extreme. And it's mostly, listen, I know if you're not a Yankees fan, you're most likely a Yankees hater. That's how this works here. But I was on Twitter yesterday, and, one of the 6 Mets fans on Twitter had put something out that said the Yankees' path to the World Series is easy. And then a Yankees fan, popular Twitter account, @YankeesFanEarl, responds, and he quote tweets it, and word for word he says, "To recap the New York Yankees' easy path. Won one of only 2 divisions in MLB where every team had at least 70 wins. Beat KC, who was 3rd in pitching FWAR and rosters the likely AL MVP runner-up. Currently up 2-0 on Cleveland, best bullpen in MLB, and rosters a top 10 player in the sport." And then he finishes by saying in his comment section, he comments and says, "People saying the Yankees have an easy path is literally just cope, because deep down they think the Yankees are winning the World Series this year." That's it, man. Like, again, people are trying way too hard to discount this team just because they don't like the Yankees. They hate the Yankees, right? And so there's a difference between inferior competition and bad competition. Those are 2 completely different things. And right now, the Yankees are playing inferior competition. They're not playing bad competition. Guys, the Cleveland Guardians won 92 games. They won the Central by, I think, 7 games. They were just 2 wins away from the Yankees for clinching the American League. They're a good baseball team. You can't deny that. You can't sit there and tell me they're not a good team. They've got the best bullpen in baseball, and they've got Jose Ramirez. Steven Kwan's an excellent leadoff hitter. They don't have the greatest lineup, but they won 92 games. They're a good team. That's a playoff team. You need to respect that. And Kansas City, that's another solid team. They had the best starting rotation in baseball. They had, a guy who would win MVP any other year. They had Salvi Perez, a Hall of Fame catcher. They had Vinny Pasquantino, played in the World Baseball Classic. Like, they had good guys on that roster. The Yankees haven't played garbage. You don't play garbage in any postseason. So we have to get rid of that narrative. Because you look at the Yankees roster on paper, guys, it's a roster that in any season would have a chance to make a run at a World Series. They're taking advantage of what's in front of them. They can't control that, and they're taking advantage of it. They haven't played their best ball either, and they're getting the job done. So, awesome to see. Let's get into the series, man. The Yanks take game 2. The Yanks go up 2-0 as Judge homers. Welcome to episode 725 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. The Yankees win 6-3 in this game. ALCS Game 2 in the Bronx. You have the righty veteran Gerrit Cole going up against the righty rookie Tanner Bybee. Bottom of the first inning. Again, Rocchio makes the E6 on the fly ball from Judge. The Yankees get a run there. Bottom 2, you get the Verdugo double to score a run. Then Soto's intentionally walked for Aaron Judge. Judge drives it to center field for the sac fly. It's 3-0 Yankees. The Verdugo double scored 2. Top 5. No, it scored 1. Sorry, it scored 1. Top 5. Cleveland gets on the board against Cole. The Josh Naylor sac fly scores a run. And then another run scores off of the Will Brennan force out. So that cuts the lead to 1. This was the same inning, I believe, where Austin Wells made a great block on a pitch that Clay Holmes spiked in the dirt. This was with the runner on second base and a 1-run game at the time. Excellent play by Austin Wells getting out and sacrificing himself to get that block. Bottom 6, Anthony Rizzo hits the double to make it 4-2 Yankees. This was the base running inning. We'll talk more on that in a second. That was disgusting. Bottom 7, Aaron Judge hits his first home run of the 2024 postseason to officially ice the game. The stadium erupts after this happens. I wasn't there, but I saw clips of it on Twitter. It sounded loud even on TV. That makes it 6-2. Top 9, you did get the Jose Ramirez garbage time home run off Luke Weaver. Nobody cares. The Yankees win 6-3. So, Yankee formula was, well, first of all, they went 9 innings, 3 runs, 8 hits allowed. They went Cole to Clay Holmes, to Tim Hill, to Tommy Kahnle, and Luke Weaver. Cole was pretty bad. Holmes' control was not great, but he got the job done. Tim Hill was amazing. We'll speak on him later. Luke Weaver, again, gave up the solo shot, but he got the job done. The Yankee bats score 6 runs on 11 hits, 5 extra base hits, 3 walks. 1 second here. Add something to my notes real quick. Okay. Start that again. Yankee bats 6 runs, 11 hits, 5 extra base hits, 3 walks. Versus Tanner Bybee, they scored 3 in an inning and a third. And then versus the Cleveland bullpen, who threw the remaining 6 2/3, they got 3 more runs on them. Torres goes 3 for 5. Judge with 3 RBIs. Judge with the only home run for the Yankees. But the Yankees in this game did something that they haven't been doing all postseason. They finally got the big hits. Now, they were only 2 for 10, I believe, with runners in scoring position, but they had RBIs with the men on base. You know, Anthony Rizzo getting a big hit. Alex Verdugo with the big hit. Aaron Judge with the big hit. Things that you did not see in the first 5 games of the postseason, you saw last night. So those were promising signs. And Aaron Boone, we talked about it last episode, has been very good with his decision-making up to this point. There were a few question marks in this game, you could say, though. People were talking about, I think initially it was did he stick with Gerrit Cole too long? I didn't have a problem with that at all. Gerrit Cole's your ace. He has to give you length. You have to stick with him and trust him. He just didn't have it. So I didn't mind Gerrit Cole pitching in the 5th inning there, with a bunch of men on base. Then he goes to Clay Holmes, and, he was pulled after 1 inning, so people were, some people questioned It came across my mind too. Did he pull Clay Holmes too early for Tim Hill? I came across my mind, but I didn't really mind it either. He wanted that lane for Tim Hill with the lefties. He also lets Tim Hill in the 7th inning face Jose Ramirez, which was very curious. That wasn't, no Tommy Kahnle there. Even Cousins, you thought, if you wanted to go with the guy with the wipeout slider. But he sticks with Tim Hill. And then I guess the last one here I have in my notes, going to Weaver there in the 9th inning of a 4-run ball game. You've used him a ton. I think he's been used every day for multiple innings. And, the Yankees love to do that every chance they get to do the double day off. He didn't do it. He used him. Do you want to give Cleveland another look at your closer in a situation where you don't, quote unquote, need to? So that crossed my mind. But listen, man, we are in the postseason, okay? These are professional athletes. These are guys who are playing in the biggest month of the season. It's October, man. Like, it kind of be hypocritical of me to complain about that because I've been spending, Boone's entire tenure calling him soft. Leave the guy in. I get it, They've already seen Luke Weaver once. They saw him in the regular season. They saw him in game 1. They know who he is. They have scouting reports. Like, I don't think that's going to show much. And you had the heart of the order up at the end of the day, So you want to be safe. You want to be extra safe in the postseason. There's no such thing as a safe lead. Get the job done. Don't worry about rest. You rest in the offseason. So I get it. Jose Ramirez hits the home run there. Listen, that was coming eventually. If that's going to be the one, good. Have it be there. But I didn't really have a problem with Boone in this game, despite a couple of those question marks. I will say this team has, they have not been fundamentally prepared. All season they've been bad. They continue to run into outs. And that's a Boone thing, in my opinion. That's a coaching thing. I mention this all the time. We talk about it, damn near every episode. In our postseason previews, we talked about this with Greg, with Russ, with Dom. How fundamentally, whether it's defensively making routine plays, hitting the cutoff, whether it's on the bases, it's been a problem in the Boone regime. And all year long on the bases, you've seen lapses from a lot of guys. Torres, Verdugo, Jazz Chisholm, Austin Wells, Anthony Rizzo, Juan Soto. They're all big culprits of these base running blunders. And last night, it was Jazz Chisholm and it was Anthony Rizzo, both in the 6th inning. And that just cannot happen. That just cannot happen. Jazz especially, that was bad. Like, there was no need for that in a situation like that. You're a guy who's on second base. You're Jazz Chisholm. You've got top speed. You can score from a base hit there. You just had a leadoff double. What are you doing? That run that they ended up scoring could have been a 2-run hit there. But the Yankees only get 1 RBI out of it because you're being an idiot on second base and you get picked off. When you're not hitting, you better be perfect on the bases when you are on the base. I mean, you cannot afford to be making those mistakes for a guy who's, batting a buck. And these mistakes just continue to happen with the Yankees. You were waiting for it to show up in a postseason game, and it did. Now, fortunately, again, Cleveland is playing a bad series, so the Yankees were able to get away with it, and they tacked on with some runs. But this is something I just don't think they care about. And I'm if they do advance, the Yankees, I'm going to continue to be concerned about it because they're playing a much superior team if it does end up being Yankees-Dodgers. You know, I just don't think the Yankees, this doesn't seem something that they value. I don't think they value this. I think it's very unimportant to them. I don't think they care. Like, they're all star players and, you know, you live with it. I think that's the way they go about it. I really do. It's this nonchalant mentality of, well, you just got to do your job at the plate and in the field. Like, they don't care about the attention to detail, about the little things. It just doesn't seem like it's been their thing since the Boone regime began. You know? But we're all tired of it. John Sterling's tired of it. John Sterling's the fucking best, isn't he? If you haven't heard the clip by now, I don't know where you've been, but Sterling called the game last night. He's been doing the playoffs. And when I think it was the Rizzo one, the second time, you know, John Sterling just got fed up, you know, and he goes, that's what they do. They run the bases like drunks. And just, I applaud him, man, for saying it how it is. Sterling never did ever give a shit, but now, since he's retired, he doesn't give two shits, and you have to respect that. The guy says it how it is, and he's not gonna shy away from that. But he's right. They run the bases like drunks. I would argue a drunk could probably be better on the bases. This team runs the bases like it's. I don't have an adjective that I could say without, you know, offending people. They need to be better on the bases. But it was a positive that in the next inning, Aaron Judge did get off the Schneid. He finally goes deep. Hopefully, this is a sign that Aaron Judge is coming alive. Right? Again, we talked about this last episode. He has the double in Game 4 versus KC. He has the RBI, his first RBI of the postseason in Game 1 of the LCS. And then yesterday, he hits the home run. He has 4 RBIs this series. The Yankees have so far scored 11 runs in these 2 games. Judge has produced 4 of them. That's not a coincidence. Their offense will score runs when their best player produces. So he has the big home run to ice the game yesterday. It was on a tough high pitch up in the zone against a guy like Gaddis, who hasn't allowed many home runs to right-handed hitters at all this year. I think that might have been the second all year. So if you can get Aaron Judge going and slugging, right, because he's been getting on base, but if you can get him slugging again, I think this Yankees team sweeps Cleveland, and I think they go into the World Series as favorites regardless of who. Maybe not LA, but heavy favorites if it's the Mets and Yankees. If you get Judge hitting like this, I just think they're going to win the World Series. I really do. I really do think they can win the World Series if Aaron Judge hits like this and everybody else continues to be doing what's been on the back of their baseball cards. So it's going to come down to the captain. It always does. That's how this team runs. That's their engine. That's their best player. So if that's a thing, a sign of things to come, is baseball screwed? You know? So great to see Aaron Judge do that. And because, guys, a lot of the lineup right now are actually hitting. Like, guys are hitting. You know, I know they haven't scored a ton of runs, but again, that's been because the best player on the team hasn't come through in big spots up to yesterday. But, you know, the depth that I keep bringing up throughout the season has been good. I don't know why people at one point thought there was no depth in this lineup. That's been a strength this entire postseason. Their lineup has, you know, bailed Aaron Judge out. Gleyber Torres has been elite as a leadoff hitter. He's starting every game with a hit. You know, he's working walks. He's consistently going to right field again. That's when Gleyber's at his best. When he's hitting the ball where it's pitched. Outside pitch, he goes to right field with it. Yesterday, he pulls a double down the line that he gets pitched inside on. This postseason, Gleyber Torres is batting .292. He's got a .933 OPS. And remember, my hot take in our playoff preview was if Gleyber Torres has another good postseason, I'm bringing him back for a year. His postseason career, folks, .283 batting average, .841 OPS. I am bringing back every single guy on this roster that's capable of performing in October, that has a resume of consistent October success. Gleyber's one of them. Clay Holmes another. Juan Soto. Obviously not a guy you consider depth. He's one of the main pieces of the team, but he's been great. He's consistently getting on base. He's working walks. The power started to show up a little bit more. He's getting base hits a lot. The run production's there. This postseason, he's batting .350 with a .1012 OPS. Juan Soto's been everything as advertised and more. Guy who's been here before. He's done it on the biggest stage in the world. He's done it in the World Series, folks. So, to have both Torres and Soto 1 and 2 on base as consistently as they've been to start the ballgame, huge. I saw a stat last night. Torres and Soto have been on base to start the game in 5 of the Yankees' 6 games so far. So if you get Judge hot with that, my gosh. But Stanton's mashing. I mean, he mashes every October. Didn't do quiet night last night. Took the night off. 1-0 for 4. But this postseason, he's batting .304 with a .1037 OPS. He's been good. He's now considered depth because he doesn't have to carry the load anymore with Soto. Volpe, his at-bats have been tremendous. Tremendous at-bats. I have confidence when he's at the plate. I have confidence that something good is going to happen whenever I see Volpe come up. Didn't have that in the regular season, but he's looking like a different player. He's getting on base with walks, with base hits. He's taking tough pitches. He's working pitch counts. He's going the opposite way himself. Base hit up the middle last night was nice to see, off of a really good pitch from Tanner Bybee. Gives him a cutter low and away. It was like 6 inches off the plate. Volpe gets barrel on it, or gets bat on it. And he picks up a base hit to center field. On the postseason so far, he's batting .278. His OPS is, I think, in the mid to high 700s. He's looking good. Verdugo, possibly coming alive again. He has a big hit last night as well. A tough fastball away from the zone from Tanner Bybee. Gets bat on it. He's got a .348 on base percentage this postseason. This series, he's 2 for 6. A base hit, a double, 2 walks, and an RBI. You're getting production from the 9-hole, and you're getting that defense in left field that we were hoping to get from starting Verdugo. Your bench is producing for you. When Cabrera plays, he gets the job done at first and at the plate. Same with John Birdie. Anthony Rizzo has looked so good in these 2 games that you got fans talking about whether or not he should be the cleanup hitter, the new cleanup hitter. Because Rizzo's been solid. You saw last night a little pull power. Big extra base hit down the line. But he's consistently coming through with timely hits. He's always been a guy who's picked up timely hits with the Yankees. Just even this year, as he struggled down the stretch of the season, he did come through with some clutch hits. He's been a guy who's, he had the playoffs where he went off with Harrison Bader that one year. But he's gotten off to a good start. He's 3 for 7 so far in these 2 games with a walk, a double, and 2 base hits. So is this going to be the guy you put a cleanup against a right-handed pitcher? Just so you can maintain the matchup advantage the rest of the way. This way you're able to still split up the righties with Judge and Stanton. You're also not stacking up lefties at the bottom of the order by replacing Wells with Rizzo. But, if we're talking about tomorrow, you have the lefty Boyd going. So I think, and Michael Kay did say this, I think on a show today, that he believes Wells is going to be sitting for Trevino tomorrow. And he also said that Stanton, he believes is going to be at cleanup tomorrow with the lefty Matthew Boyd. So, I think, say tomorrow comes and they do go with that strategy and everybody hits, I think, let's say Wells is back in their game too, and then you're facing a righty, I think you'll see Stanton at 4, Rizzo at 4, Stanton still at 5, and then maybe you put Wells at 9. But then you're stacking 3 lefties at the bottom. That's the only thing. Unless you want to give Dominguez a day, but Verdugo's been producing. So, regardless of how you maneuver it, when you have Stanton at cleanup, you're not going to have that matchup advantage. But I like Wells has just been too awful to keep there. The at-bats are low quality. He's not hitting high velocity. That's been a problem for him this year. Hitting fastballs that are up in the zone. That's how they're attacking him, and he's just not getting it. So he's probably going to get the day tomorrow, according to Kay, and they're going to have Stanton back cleanup against the lefty Boyd. So, against a lefty, I understand putting, as many righties as you can in there, but I'm curious to see how this works when you get a right-hander on the mound. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, it's starting to look a little bit promising offensively if this is what you're going to get from Judge, who's been better the last couple games. It wasn't just yesterday. But yesterday you got what you really needed. You go to the other side, and listen, the Yankees gave up 3 runs. Can't tell me they pitched like shit, but Garrett Cole didn't look great. I don't know if he's the same pitcher, man. 2 out of 3 this postseason where he really hasn't impressed you at all. He goes 4 1/3, 2 runs on 6 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, 89 pitches needed. Now, Cleveland did stack up on lefties. They had 8 lefties in their lineup yesterday, 7 left, 1 switch, and then a righty. Still, that's not something that you can use as an excuse. You're Garrett Cole. You have to get the job done. You're not a platoon pitcher. You got to go out there and dominate. And he did not. He had no command. He was all over the place by the time the 3rd inning came. He just didn't seem to have an out pitch. He was going to a sinker yesterday. He never goes to a sinker. That's a pitch he ditched a while ago for the cutter. But he was going to a sinker because I think he was just trying to find anything he could. In the top of the 3rd inning, he used it a lot. He threw a couple to Stephen Kwan, which led to a 4-pitch walk. He threw one to Manzardo, fouled it off. He threw one to Jose Ramirez. It was a first pitch ball. He had a lot of long at-bats where he just couldn't capitalize, and, it either took too long to get the result he wanted. Top of the 4th inning, you had that at-bat against Rocchio with the bases loaded, 2 outs. The Yanks are up 3-0. Rocchio's at the plate. Cole gets ahead 0-2 with 2 curveballs in the zone for called strikes, but then he goes fastball out of the zone for a 1-2 count, and then he just couldn't get the out pitch. Rocchio fouls off a curve. He fouls off a fastball, fouls off another curve. Then Cole goes with the cutter. He fouls that off. He tries to shorten the curveball by spiking it. Rocchio spits on it. It's a 2-2 count. But then Cole finally drops in a curveball on the upstairs corner for a called strike 3. But, Rocchio did what he was trying to do in the 9 spot, which draw an at-bat that lasts a lot of pitches and kills his pitch count. There was a 9-pitch battle that completely drained Garrett Cole because the next inning he was not sharp at all. Top of the 5th, right away he gives up the leadoff base hit to Stephen Kwan on a fastball middle. Gives a fastball to Manzardo up in the zone. He picks up a base hit, so you got first and second, nobody out to begin the frame. He walks Jose Ramirez to load the bases with nobody out. That was on 5 pitches. He goes cutter, curve, changeup, fastball, cutter. So again, he's trying everything he can, trying every pitch in his mix. Blake comes out to visit. Then he gives up the sac fly to Josh Naylor. Again, this was a fastball that he left in the middle of the plate. He walks Lane Thomas on 7 pitches. He used 4 different pitches in this at-bat. And after that, he was pulled for Clay Holmes, who allows the inherited run to score, but then escapes the inning. So Cole just, he just doesn't seem like the same guy this year, man. You can call it a washed season. What do you call it? A lost season for Garrett Cole if you want. I just think he's coming off an elbow injury, and he's 34 years old. And he might not be the same anymore. He's just not been as consistent. Like you don't see it. You don't see him dominate for 2 starts in a row anymore. That used to be a thing where he had streaks, like 5, 6 games in a row where he was just lights out. You haven't seen that from him yet. This stuff just doesn't get as much swing and miss as it used to. So he has to change his approach and nibble a lot. He was nibbling a ton. He's not really, if he tries to challenge you in the zone, it's a lot of fouling off, popping up, balls put in play, a lot of hard contact too this year. Because the fastball is just, not the same. The velo's down on it. The movement is not as great. Spin's not as high. The command's not the same. So, it's just, it's different. It's a different Garrett Cole. Not saying he's a bad pitcher anymore, but he's definitely not the prime Garrett Cole. He's 34, man. That happens. So he's got to figure it out and give them better starts, though, because, hopefully that's the last time we see Garrett Cole this series. Would love to sweep this team. I'll tell you who did pitch very well. Tim Hill, the unsung hero from last night. What an awesome job by Tim Hill. I mean, this guy enters in the middle of the game. It's a 1-run game, and he gets the damn job done. Many people are questioning, why aren't you going to Clay Holmes? But he comes in, 5 outs versus 5 batters, the top of the order, and he made it look easy. This was in the midst of the Yankee lineup doing absolutely zero at the time. Right? This is when Hill was in, and the Yankees had that 1 inning where they went down on, 5 pitches, 6 pitches, it felt like. But yeah, top of the 6th, he comes in. He goes 1-2-3 versus the 9-1-2 hitters. He gets Rocchio to strike out swinging, where he elevates a fastball. He gets Kwan to hit a soft line out off of a slider going away. And then he gets Manzardo to hit an inning-ending ground out to Anthony Rizzo at first base by giving him a 2-seam low and inside. Top of the 7th, he goes back out there and gets 2 outs with 4 pitches versus the heart of the Cleveland lineup in a 2-run game. Jose Ramirez leads off. He feeds him a 2-seam low in the zone, gets the ground ball out. Josh Naylor comes up to the plate next. He gives him a 2-seam over the top of the zone. Gets the out. Ground ball out. That's when he's pulled for Tommy Kahnle. But shout out to Tim Hill. And good for Jazz Chisholm, too. Jazz Chisholm made 2 very nice plays in that 7th inning. But Tim Hill has done well, man. He's done very well. He's had a good season for the Yankees. He's, been bit by some bad defense in the postseason because he's gotten the job done by generating soft contact ground balls. But, game 1 of the LDS, he didn't get help from Anthony Volpe when he airmailed that throw. In game 1 of the LCS, he didn't get help from Anthony Rizzo when he failed to make that play he probably should have made. He's a guy who comes in, throws sinkers, gets grounders. He's got that submarine arm angle, which is tough to pick up, especially if you're going lefty on lefty. He's their lefty specialist for the most part. And so, yeah, this is the guy who looks like he's 100 years. It looks like he's 55 years old and, smokes 3 packs of Marlboro Reds every day. That's what he looks like, but he gets the damn thing done. I don't know how, but, 88 miles an hour, doesn't matter. He's going to get the job done. So good for Tim Hill. I thought he was excellent in this game. And 6-3, folks. That was your final. So next up, you got this 3-game road trip. You're going to Cleveland, Ohio for 3 games. I went to the ALDS Game 5 in Cleveland in 2017. My cousin called me the night before, randomly, hey, you want to go to the game tomorrow? I'm like, isn't it away? He's like, yeah. So we took a last-minute road trip. We left the next morning. Got there pretty quick. Got a hotel. This was all last second, and it was a really good time. We got the win. This was the CC game, the Didi Gregorius home run game. It was a fun time. But I will not be going back, unfortunately. But hopefully the Yankees can get it done there. They are the best road team in baseball, or at least the American League. And I know Cleveland's the best home team. So it should be interesting. The Yankees are going Schmidt, Heel, and Rodon if they need to. So righty, lefty versus Boyd and a bunch of TBDs at the moment because Cleveland's got to figure out what the fuck their starting rotation's doing. What a mess. But, the bullpen is probably going to be tested a little bit now. You got 3 straight days of baseball, no rest. Haven't had that yet this postseason. So you're going to see a lot of your usual 4 guys, Weaver, Holmes, Canely, Hill. But you're probably going to have to dip into your secondaries. You're probably going to have to pitch Cousins. You're probably going to have to pitch Ian Hamilton. So go win this thing. I don't like the format. I don't like the 2-3-2. I don't like, where's our 3 straight home games? But I wish it was 2-2-1-1-1. That's the way I think it should be. But I guess they're trying to prevent travel. Boo-hoo. But regardless, you got to go in there and take care of business. I would love to sweep. I think this team's good enough to sweep. But I think at worst, you have to end the series in Cleveland. So take 2 out of 3 on the road, and then you live with that. But let's fucking sweep this team, huh? Let's sweep. So, folks, I think that's all we got. That's all the input I want to add. So we're going to head to break, get back in a minute, and then wrap it up with our trivia. Stay with us here on episode 725 of BD4. Be right back.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 725 of BD4. Let's wrap this episode of BD4 up with our trivia question of the day. All right, our trivia question of the day for this episode. Luke Weaver is... Sorry, hold on. Here we go. Luke Weaver. Sorry, I had someone text me. I'm watching the Met game. Man, they got destroyed. Luke Weaver is the third pitcher to finish each of his team's first 6 postseason games. Who are the other two? Luke Weaver is the Luke Weaver is the third pitcher to finish each of his team's first 6 postseason games. Who are the other two? All right, so let me know the answer. And that is it. The Yanks go up 2-0 as Judge homers. Rizzo has a big game. The bullpen gets the job done despite Cole not being great. Verdugo has a good game. Volpe has a good game. Gleyber Torres has a big game. And let's keep rolling, man. Let's keep this thing going. Let's go be the Yankees and let's go sweep and get to the World Series, then win it. That'll be a good plan. All right, folks. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!